Okay, so moving on to our next story, we are talking about Digital Manga Inc. and some Kickstarter campaigns. Now, Tristan, for some longtime fans, could you tell them how back in the day when I first started, when I was a young plucky me, about 3 maybe 4 years ago, how I really want to talk about Kickstarters? Could you tell the fans about that?
Matt likes Kickstarters.
Thank you. I was really think that's exactly what I was hoping for, and if you actually gave me a heartfelt answer, I would have been sad. So, I really enjoy Kickstarters because I think it's just a great way for people to bring their vision to life, and it's a great way for fans to kind of invest. Not invest is a really bad word actually, because it's not an investment, but to purchase a product in advance or purchase usually a product. It shouldn't be a concept. It really should be at the we're going to produce it stage, especially if it's on Kickstarter. But really though, it's a great way to kind of fund projects that are not going to have any other chance otherwise. And we've talked about some stuff on the podcast before, again over our past 3 seasons now in season 4, but we didn't get to talk about as many last season. Don't know why, just kind of slipped through the cracks. But this one is actually kind of interesting because these Kickstarters already happened, which means that those guys bump, the K Corner bump, was so good, went back to the past and did it retroactively. Now, we always say it, Tristan, if we talk about a podcast, it gets fulfilled. We talk about a podcast. If you talk about a Kickstarter, it gets fulfilled.
Exactly.
So,
That's why you like Kickstarters so much, because it makes you feel like you have magical powers.
yes. Which, if you want to see my magical powers, you should probably fund that through Kickstarter. We'll have that up in the description box down below. Matt's Magical Power Magic Show. So anyway, so Digital Manga Inc. I came up with the name myself, in case anyone's wondering.
Oh.
Digital Manga Inc. posted some updates on Friday for its Kickstarter campaigns for 3 different manga: Kodomo no Jikan, A Child's Time, okay, and then 4 boys love manga by. So here's the problem that I have. Not that they're boys love manga, because why the hell not? Like, you love what you love. But the problem is that the creator of the manga is named so Anime News Network, which you can see the article down in the description box down below. They wrote this person's name as Delico Psyche or Psycha. It's supposed to be Psychedelico or Psychedelic, but they
Right.
took the name and they flipped it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. I remember that when I first read the article. I was like, why? So anyway,
Oh, yeah. Oh, lordy.
I'm like, why did you just flip the name? And then it's said as Delico Psyche. I'm like, or Psych multiple times. And I'm like, no. Anyway, I become immediately, when it comes to names like that, especially either some type of either localization or whatever, I immediately become Skeletor. I'm like, stop it, Anime News Network. Why? So yeah, so that's who I become. I'm like, why are you calling it Boku no Hero Academia? Boku just means my. Just say my. So anyway, I'm sorry everybody.
Oh my god.
The amount of people that just immediately clicked out. So anyway, so
That
either
time I
way.
got reincarnated as Jump shows up on here.
Oh, you're still looking through the Shonen Jump app, you fucking fuck. I was like, what is he concerned about? Yes, I told you that months ago because
Right.
you don't have a copy. I do, because thank you. You bought it for like my
I got
birthday or
it for you
Christmas.
for your birthday, you
Yes,
fun-loving person, you.
I am. So anyway, so either way, there's some stuff going on with this Kickstarter though, because even though it does seem like they are going to be putting these out and they are going to be giving these to their fans, some of them were like completed, i.e., fully funded in
Right.
March. In March, or in general, I shouldn't say all in March, but in 2017. So March or May. So it's one of those things where it's like, actually, I'm sorry, I should mention in particular, the Kodomo no Jikan one was in July 2016. So I'm not saying they're not going to do it. I'm just saying big oof. I understand taking a year or so, especially if you're trying to put out, I believe they're trying to put out the entirety of these series. So it's not just one volume, it's the entire series, which I get it, right? That's great. But, ooh, 3 to 4 years, that's a long time. So just putting that out there, like that's a long time. But again, they are still coming out. They're saying that they're coming out in 2020. Specifically, they flipped one. There was one called Wonder 3 and one, of course, called the Wonder G-Con. And apparently, because of some kind of licensing agreements, the campaigns are being flipped into like how they're being fulfilled. So one is being fulfilled before the other one. So it's a whole thing. I mean, I just think of it, the way I look at it is like this, right? It's not that you can't have multiple Kickstarters at once, because I honest to God think that you can. But it does start to look like, especially if you need the Kickstarters, the thought process behind it is usually, not always, but usually my thought is, you are a smaller company. So when you have multiple at once, they have had success with doing multiple at once before. This isn't the first time Digital Manga Inc. has ever done something like this. But it feels like they got a lot going on right now, and trying to like keep people happy while flipping the order of how things are getting given to them and things like that, and like what rewards are being what's the word I'm looking for? Rewards are being fulfilled. It's a lot. So Tristan, after reading this article, what are your thoughts about it? Did you come to the same conclusion that I did, or did you go in a completely different direction?
Yeah, I mean, it just sometimes, like, I understand you really want to get your fans invested in something that you put together, but sometimes you just kind of overshoot, and sometimes life comes at you quick. And I'm glad that they came out. It's like, for the sake of transparency, it's like we've had a lot of cutbacks on staff and everything, so that's why a lot of this stuff is going down.
Yeah.
So I think that's good that they jumped on that and be like, hey, look, like, we're still going to try and do all that we can. It just might take a bit longer than we originally anticipated.
Right, yes. I should, before speculating, I should have read their exact quote, which Tristan was referencing to. And for the sake of transparency, DMI was overly ambitious with trying to fulfill several campaigns at the same time. Right. Originally, each campaign was run by their own dedicated managers, which, pause for a second, that does make sense. I mean, you would do that. Like, that makes sense. Like, you have multiple campaigns because they have their own managers. So even though the company is, liable, like, they're still on the hook for this, it still makes sense. Like, it's not, me working on like 8 Kickstarters or something like that. Anyway, back into the post. So originally each campaign was run by their own dedicated managers, and we were a bigger team overall. However, now we're a handful of employees trying our best to get these campaigns fulfilled while still working on other responsibilities. I don't want this to be interpreted as an excuse, but instead as a glimpse into the reality of the situation. So can I just say, I fucking love that last sentence, because a lot of people hear reasons for things and they go, shut up with your stupid excuse. And it's like, no, that's a reason, right? Don't get me wrong. If your grandma dies once a week, yeah, that's an excuse. Like, how many grandmas do you have? It's been a year, Kyle.
Right.
52 grandmas? Really? No. You're making excuses. But at a certain point, Kyle, a reason is a reason, right? Oh, why were you late? Oh, traffic. Okay, well, you should leave earlier. Oh, that's a terrible excuse. No, that is the reason why I was late, but you are correct in assessing that I should leave earlier because I should have understood traffic is going to be a pain at this hour. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
all right, Matt, we don't have to review my day at work for everybody here on the internet, all right?
Tristan, why did you leave me in the fucking pouring rain at the train stop a year and a half ago?
Oh my God!
Was it because of traffic?
Was it because of how about you shut the fuck up? I think it was.
I think it might have been. This is just therapy for both of us, really. Health insurance in this country, it's too much. This is just therapy for both of us.
Morty.
Well, as you swaddle Patchy.
Yes.
Your cat. Anyway, but seriously though, I really do love that response though, because a lot of people are going to say, oh, this is an excuse, yada yada. It's like, no, the reason is they have less employees and they admit their own fault, which their fault was they got way too over ambitious, because at most, I would argue, have like, and I'm being dead serious here, like 2 Kickstarters at once, right? Like you have one with one manager, one with another, because worst case scenario, if they leave and you have to lay off people and have less staff, 2 is manageable.
Right.
This is not 2. This is currently 5.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I'm just putting someone out there is like, wow, really controversial opinion, Matt. You're hitting us up with the hard facts. Yeah, 5 is a lot of Kickstarters. And again, they have a success rate, so it's not as if they're they're not in the it's not as if they weren't expected to keep up with that same level of quality, or that they were new to this game. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, they've worked with Tezuka before, at least Tezuka series. They have, this isn't their first rodeo, but it's a problem clearly, because now they have a lot less staff, and hopefully that these do end up getting released. Their goal was, at least for this Psychodelica manga, they were going to get those out at the second quarter of 2020.
Right.
So I'm hoping that they can do that, and I mean, it definitely would be great if they could. But either way, tell us what you think about this down below. Did you actually give to this Kickstarter? Are you waiting on some of your rewards? What rewards are they? And now that you know about some of these series, would you have Kickstarted them in the first place? So tell me what you think about all of that stuff down in the description box if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, or you can tweet us at Those Guys Radio. But if you're on YouTube, down below.